But when you're in California, I can't poke you. So you need a different individual, and understanding how to attract and manage and hold accountable that person is a different process.
When you, for clarification, when you talk about process, are you talking about systematic ways of running the business, policies and procedures, or?
Everything. Everything. The larger you get, the more processes you need in place, because you lose that CEO connection. So everybody has to understand exactly when A happens, we do B. And it's being as intentional as you can about every aspect of your business. About, so you work with clients, and somebody's owned the business for 40, 50 years, they think everybody knows everything about your business. They think you expect them to be at work at a certain time, leave at a certain time. This is how you communicate, this is how you answer the phone. They don't know that. They don't have the culture yet. So how do you give them that culture? Or how do you hire? I want everybody in a company hiring the same way, doing the same way, so you know when it's working, when it's failing, and then you improve the system. And the larger you get, the more you have to do that.
No, I know.
Yes.
I see it a little bit different. I see it's an integration of people, processes, and products, which could be services, and that equals your profit and revenues. Because if you do that integration properly, being most efficient and effective, and doing exactly what you said, hiring against the right questions to fit your culture and the needs, and as the business changes, you change that, which is part of the process, you get the different people you need, and therefore, if you then get the right products or service, the customer is going to come to you over and over again and bring in new customers, and they're going to be your marketing agents.
I love it. Sounds good. It sounds good. It gets to these why questions. What's the issue? Why? And as long as you can solve it, it could be capacity. You could be doing all those things and not have the capacity. It could be pricing. Are your cost of goods too high? Are you not charging enough to the end user? All those things. Is my production process too expensive? So it just looks at everything and isolating what the real issues are. Anything else on this? 3 gates of focus. How they change. It's on your cheat sheet here. How it changes. So stage 1 and 2, it's all about profit. We'll let that other stuff. I gotta make money, keep the doors open, make payroll. And then you can see in stage 3, the most difficult thing is shifts to people, because this is where you start developing people, staff, departments. Stage 4, it switches to process. You've got your department heads. They need to develop process in their areas of focus, or you need to help them do that. Back to profit at stage 5, and then people, imagine the CEO being the rah-rah guy, the visionary, creating excitement in the company. So it shifts to people. All right, 3 faces of a leader. Three different faces: visionary, a manager, and a specialist. So this, I think, more clearly than anything points out that how a CEO needs to change as the company grows. Specialist in stage 1, 50%, down to 5% in stage 7. So you may have someone who wants, the CEO, the owner, who wants to stay hands-on and being the specialist. That's what they love. They hate managing. They don't want to sit down and do reviews. Be intentional about it. Okay, you can stay the specialist, but you damn well better have a manager in here running the business. Look at stage 3, 4, and 5. 70% in stage 4, you better be managing. And that means That's all the time, 70%. So if you've got somebody you're working with, or you're in that boat and you hate managing, and you're a stage 4 company, you better find somebody who can manage. And you continue to do what you love. You own the company, do with it what you want. That's a great thing. But you better have somebody in there managing. And managing is really not about producing, it's about handling. How many of you talk to CEOs? If I hear one more personal problem, I'm going to kill myself. That's all I hear. I go to work and it's not about making more widgets for me, it's their dog died. Right? I mean, we've all heard it. That's life. That's what you have to be able to do. Like it or not. Questions on faces of the leader? Yes?
So you're saying if the specialist, in this case I'm thinking of the salesperson, wants to continue to spend all their time selling, they have to be willing to give up that management role.
Yes. Yes. They can be the chairman, CEO, and have a COO, and they can sit down once a week and have a structured system. Okay, what are you working on? This, that, you know. Okay, I'm going to sell. You take care of it. Yeah. You know, I don't want to use a famous example, but Hewlett-Packard, I don't remember whether it was the Hewlett or the Packard, but one of them stayed in research. I mean, that's what he loved to do, and that's what he did. He didn't manage the company at all. Can I get some smiles? I mean, it's fun stuff when you get into it and realize it. The important thing to remember in this is nobody's good at everything. We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. There are two sides to every coin. And as soon as you as the leader or your customer as the CEO understands what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, you can start moving them through this. That's the hard part, what would I say, the bat moment, bat on the forehead. Yes, Ted?
I think that this in particular is extremely telling and useful, and I'm sort of approaching this from the other side of the fence, looking back on essentially in a turnaround situation, what happened and why it happened. And I think that the CEO of my company, the owner, was a specialist, and he knew around the transition of stage 5 and 6 that he needed a visionary, or he needed that transition, and those were not his particular skill sets. He brought somebody in to do that, and it didn't work out. But that particular transitional period, if you go back a few slides, and this is essentially when that transition doesn't happen, and when you don't have, the people process profit, that is, the company sort of grew despite itself, as somebody else said.
Yeah.
The systems were never in place to essentially support that growth as it moved forward, or to evaluate what was happening and whatever. And it was just sort of, you just kept, when you sort of locked on to a wholesale customer kind of segment, it just took you with it, right?
Yeah.
But the company didn't mature to expand its own capabilities and internal systems and processes for any of these things, hiring or different things, or the management infrastructure that was required to actually support what was necessary to operate in an efficient, profitable manner. And it wasn't necessary, people have their own particular skill sets. But I think it's really, I guess it all comes back to, when you talk about money, you talk about anything, at the end of the day, it all comes down to management, assuming you apply the product, whatever it would be. And I think that sometimes the proof is the outcome, and sometimes the proof is a negative one. And I think that this is, and not to sort of speak of it this way, but we're in the stage 7. And as you move through these different stages of growth, understanding that it is very true. I mean, your percentages, you know, et cetera, sort of as a general rule of thumb on what needs to be, what needs to occur. In fact, if I look sort of with a critical eye on what happened back in that transition 5-6, the reason that I think the wrong person was brought in was because of inadequate people and processes. Because the right decisions weren't made, and a specialist who was the CEO hadn't built the infrastructure and management to do an appropriate hiring type of process.
Yeah.
And so therefore he got the wrong guy.
Yeah, it's difficult to sit down and take the time to define who it is you need, because you have to know your problems first, your issues, not problems, challenges, and then decide who it is you need.
Yeah, and in many ways it's speaking about, and I'm sorry to ramble, but speaking about you need to have the first problems fixed as you move through those stages, or you don't progress. It's sort of I do sort of liken it to an immature child, like, you know, that's where people grow up and they're sort of man-child, right? They're big, grown-up body, but they're sort of the maturity level of something much younger. And if you don't take care of those things in the beginning stages or as you move through, then you're never coming to unless you take the time to go back and really completely reconstruct. So.
Yep. So we'll do with companies and give you a percentage on 3 of the stages: the stage you're in, the stage and then your 2 previous stages, and actually give you a percentage and let you know exactly what you've got to go back and fix, what's holding you back from moving forward. So we're running a little late. Last 2 things: build a protector. Very simple concept. So your builders are those people that just, you know, there is a pony under that manure somewhere, and I'm going to find it. And then your protectors are kind of just the opposite. You can perceive them as being negative, but it's their nature. And you can intentionally find people that are builders and that are protectors. And if you look, stage 3, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Toughest stage to get through. You need to make sure that you're not overextending. When you're in stage 3, you got to take care of your people issues. Make sure you got the right base before you move forward, and therefore build a protector ratio in stage 3 is at 1. You can see a stage is at 1-to-1. Stage 1 and stage 2, it's all about Katie bar the door, get the business in here. I don't care how you do it. So you can't move into stage 3 with that same attitude, or you're going to tip over. You're the weak vine growing up the tree, and you're going to be blown off. Yes?
You said in stage 1, you know, usually those are the people that have a skill and they say, I'm a painter, so I'm going to start a company because I'm good at painting.
Yeah.
And when they do that, they don't think of anything else that has to be done, and they don't have time to market.
Yeah.
Okay? And for them to grow, the hardest thing for them to realize is they have to become a leader, a delegator, or they fail.
How many people in 05, 06 left a construction company to start their own business? Just because of that reason.
Yeah.
If you had a hammer and a nail, you'd get business somewhere doing something, right? They didn't have to market. All they had to do is answer the phone, show up, give you a price. I thought it would be less than that. Take it or leave it. You know, it was that kind of attitude. And then,
and continuing with that, if the guy is a painter and that's your expertise, as you grow, you really don't have the right information to make good decisions because you've never experienced the next level.
right. Can I follow up on that?
Yeah.
How many people in here went to CEO school? Anybody? There is no CEO school except hard knocks. I mean, it is doing it and figuring out. I don't care. NBA, you know, I see a lot of stuff that comes out of Darden in Charlottesville. There is no CEO school. This is CEO school. This is it. And it's well worth the time and the energy to learn it and understand it. So I'll be around. I think we're about done, right?
First of all, Brad, thank you. Hope that you all got some valuable information out of this, whether it's for your own company or perhaps for your clients. Brad's certainly available. for any of you. We will be having another VCF Presents, I think, in the latter part of July. We hope to see you all then, and other than that, good business, have a great day, and be safe out there. Thank you.